When you swing a sword in a game, how does it actually know what you hit? The sword is just an animation, or sometimes a separate object. The enemy doesn't magically realize a blade passed through it. Something in between has to do the work. That's where hitboxes come in. So remember how in the last video we created an interface that lets anything take damage and react in a specific way? That was only half the job. The other half is a system that can automatically detect what got hit and decide who should take that damage. Skills, projectiles, melee hits, they all use hitboxes, whether they're persistent or only exist for a single frame. In this video, we're giving the game its pain receptors, a hitbox component that finds what can be damaged. Hello there, I'm Mysterious. I'm building a 2D multiplayer fighting game in Unreal Engine 5 and wiring everything together with nothing but blueprints and hope. The hitbox system is probably one of the easiest combat systems to start with, and then reuse it whenever you need the same hit behavior. But it slowly becomes more complex depending on how deep you want your combat to be. Now, before I get ahead of myself, I'm not going to perfect the hitbox system in this video. This is just the first version of another very customizable system. It's also my first time properly building one, just like many of the systems you'll see later. Some of you might have heard of collision in games. In Unreal, you can add collision components to anything: boxes, spheres, capsules, and with a few settings the engine will tell you when two things overlap or hit each other. So why bother with a separate hitbox system at all? Because I don't want every single attack to reinvent that logic. A hitbox in this game is just a predefined shape with rules. Where it appears, how long it exists, when it's allowed to hit, all wrapped in a reusable component. Instead of a different blueprint for every weapon deciding did I hit something, they all plug into the same hitbox system. The actual meshes and animations are messy and always moving. The hitbox system ignores all of that and just asks, at this moment, is there anything damageable inside this simple shape? If there is, then send it a hit. Now that we got that out of the way, how will the hitbox system function? In this example, the hitbox is just a sphere I spawn around whatever skill or object I attach it to. While it's active, it repeatedly scans the area to see if there's anything inside that can be damaged. If it finds something valid, it applies damage, and after a set duration, the whole hitbox deactivates. Very simple, right? Well, there are actually quite a lot of conditions inside of it, so let's go through them. Just like the damageable interface, I had to build another package that can carry all the information needed. It tells the hitbox what shape to be and how to behave. Radius, height, local offset, rotation, how long it should live, how often it should tick, and it also carries a different set of information. We are also carrying the information package responsible for the damageable interface from the last devlog. When I call activate hitbox, all I really do is set the hitbox relative position and rotation based on the information I received. and starts two timers, one looping timer that calls the tick function and one-shot timer that turns the hitbox off after the duration, and the duration is based on the skill. The tick function is the interesting part that is the spaghetti from the beginning of the video. Every time it runs, it does a sphere overlap around the owner, ignoring a list of actors, at minimum myself so I don't hit my own character. It gets a list of everything inside that radius and runs a few checks. 1. Is this the same person who spawned the hitbox? If somehow yes, skip it. Does this hitbox want to hit each person only once? Or can it keep hitting while they stay inside the area? And finally, does this actor actually implement the damageable interface? If not, we ignore it. Anything that passes those checks gets an apply damage call with the damage information and the hit location. If the hitbox is configured as a one and done, I also add the actor to an already hit actors list, so it can't be hit again during the activation. At the end, I draw a debug sphere so I can actually see the hitbox in the world. The tick timer fires this function over and over every few milliseconds. That's the tick rate. And once the lifetime timer expires, the component just turns itself off and stops scanning. Okay, so we can make enemies take damage and we got a proper hitbox to detect that and deliver it, but we are missing enemies. Well, that can be arranged. I simply had to copy the same sprite I was using with the same basic idle animation, give him a simplified personality that can only take damage, add health logic, place him to the world, and... why am I invisible? Well, the good news, I can see the area in which it can take damage and it properly takes damage. Bad news is, my doppelganger replaced me and I'm invisible. After doing some random fixes, I simply booted the game as a standalone client and there I was. Still clueless as to why I disappeared. I guess we will never fix that bug. And that was the end for the hitbox system. All I need to do next is customize it and apply it for abilities and hits in a superficial way to make sure it works. If you like this kind of devlog where I actually show the systems behind the game, what problems I run into, or maybe you're just curious if I can release the game, stick around. For the end of this video, I want to leave you with a question. Do you think skills should be able to take damage? Maybe the stronger projectile should win? Or perhaps they should cancel each other out? Let me know your opinion down below.